I think we're live. Hello, world. The rain just kind of stopped and the sun is going down. It's my favorite time of the day. Not only do I get to enjoy the sounds of nature behind me, but I also get to enjoy this book with you, Prosperity Consciousness by the two Bowmans, Stephen and Chutisa. And today we are going to be reading one chapter. It's called Do What You Enjoy in Life. Not do what everybody else thinks is correct, not do what everybody else says you ought to do because it's going to get whatever result they say it's going to get. No, it's called Do What You Enjoy in Life. I love it. In this chapter, Steve talks about the following concepts: discovering what you love to do, claiming your innate talents, working to make money versus doing what you love. Anybody ever remember that song? I mean, from like a long time ago. Maybe I'm dating myself. Working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. Remember that? Oui, oui. All right. So back to hola, hola. So back to the book. All right. Working to make money versus doing what you love. Living in 10, count them, 10-second increments, and tools for discovering what you love to do. When you do what you love, the money will follow you with ease. This message really struck home for Chutisa and me during a meeting with Gary while we were writing this book, this very amazing book. This is the insight that came through loud and clear in our conversation with Gary. To create abundant money, we must first acknowledge, claim, and own our innate talents and abilities and see how we can use them. We have to be willing to claim, own, and be everything that we are as the outrageous, wonderful beings that we are. And when we start receiving the greatness of who we truly are, then everything in our lives starts to transform, including our financial resources. Discovering what we love to do. When Chutisa and I chose to create our business, we made it our priority to discover what we enjoyed in life and what we love to do. It had to be something that would nourish and fulfill us, and at the same time allow us to generate huge amounts of money. Virtually all successful artists, celebrities, and athletes who've embodied their greatness have the absolute confidence and trust that come what may, they will one day reach the pinnacle of their professions. These people are able to perceive, know, be, and receive what they really enjoy in life. They know what they love to do. They're aware of who they are, what they're in love with, and what they wish to accomplish. This is what gives them their extraordinary positions in the world. When Chutisa and I do what we love, the money flows more rapidly towards us, as long as we're not operating in the scarcity paradigm. When we're doing what we love, we aren't working just for the money. We are inspired by examples of Steve Jobs, the former CEO of Apple Computers, who discovered what he loved to do early in life. He and his friend, Steve Wozniak, started Apple in Jobs' parents' garage when Jobs was 20. Within 10 years, Apple released what Jobs calls our finest creations, the Macintosh, which grew into a $2 billion company with over 4,000 employees. And then, just after Jobs turned 30, he was fired from the very company that he founded. What happened? As Apple grew, Jobs hired a CEO. Jobs and the new CEO did well together the first year, but their visions of the future began to diverge. They had a falling out, and the board of directors sided with the CEO. At the age of 30, Jobs was ejected from the very company that he had founded. He was devastated and didn't know what to do. Well, what had been the focus of his entire adult life was gone. It was very public failure, and he thought about running away from Silicon Valley. But he realized that he still loved what he did. He decided to start over, and as Job tells it, he didn't see it at the time, but being fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened. The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again, less sure about everything. And it freed me to enter one of the most creative periods of my life. During the next 2 years, Jobs started 2 companies, Next and Pixar. Pixar created Toy Story, the first computer animated film, and became the most successful animation studio in the world. And then in an unexpected move, Apple bought Next, and Jobs returned to Apple. The technology developed at Next became the heart of Apple's current renaissance. Jobs said, "I'm convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did." You've got to find what it is that you love, and that's as true for your work as it is for your lovers. Your work fills a large part of your life, and like Jobs, we believe that the only way to be truly satisfied in life is to do what you believe is great work. As he said, the only way to do great work is to love what you do. Jobs tells people who haven't yet found what they love to keep looking. His advice is, don't settle. Keep looking until you find it. And as with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. So to create abundant money in this reality, start with you. You have to first do what you enjoy in life. You have to do what you love to do. So, what do you love to do? Every year, Chutisa and I consult with individuals and businesses around the world, helping them attain greater freedom, greater consciousness, and greater awareness of their potential, abilities, and capabilities. And in doing this, we've discovered a very interesting pandemic. A lot of people have no clue about what it is that they love to do. Well, if there's one question that we are asked constantly, it's this one. How can I discover my right path in life? I'm going to say I ask that too. When people ask us this question, we can accurately predict that not only are they truly not satisfied with their current circumstances, I often ask them these questions. So, do you love and truly enjoy what you spend most of your time doing? Is your life a celebration? Is your life enjoyable and pleasurable? Or is it dreary and monotonous and lackluster? Do you feel there are infinite possibilities and unlimited opportunities to generate wealth? Or do most opportunities for you seem to have gone? Well, most people respond that they're really not happy in the work they're doing. They're doing their current jobs just for money. Funny, I do it the other way around, but everybody's different. It's not how much we do, but how much it's not how much we do, but how much love we put into the doing. Oh, I love that. I'm going to read that again. It's not how much we do, but how much we love that we put into the doing. It's not how much we give, but how much love we put into the gifting. What a beautiful quote from Mother Teresa. Wow. It's not how much we do, but how much love we put into the doing. It's not how much we give, but how much love we put into the gifting. Wow, Mother Teresa, brilliant woman. Do what you love, and the money will follow. Oprah Winfrey has demonstrated that when you choose to do the things that you love, the money will follow. Aha. Oprah, who's one of the richest people in the United States today, has enlivened the lives of millions of people worldwide through her television program. She pursues the work that she loves. Oprah is successful because from the beginning, she's not been defined by dollars or motivated by money. She declared that she would do what she's doing even if she weren't being paid. She said that she was just as excited when she was earning only $100 per week and doing what she loved as she is now. And she became unstoppable. Furthermore, money's flowed rapidly and with ease towards her, and the contributions made by Oprah and her television show are endless because money is power. Oprah uses her power to do a great deal of good in the world. Most people who embody prosperity consciousness similar to Oprah Winfrey's have become exceptionally wealthy because they have chosen to do what they love. They've provided goods and services that benefit the world at large and have been justly rewarded in return. All things are possible. Have you ever known anyone who generated a fortune doing what they disliked, who truly enjoyed the experience? Have you ever seen exceptionally successful athletes or actors or artists who hate what they do? Well, there you have it. One of the secrets to becoming successful, rich, and famous. To be successful, you have to do what you enjoy in life. All things are possible. You, my darling, are an unlimited being. You have unlimited possibilities. Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, exemplifies a way of being that affirms the truth that all things are possible when you choose to do what you love with conscious awareness. For Gary, the foundation of a successful business is consciousness. What's more, he truly enjoys his work, traveling around the world, helping people to become more conscious and more aware of what they wish to create in their lives. Gary also enjoys working with animals, especially horses. He loves showing people how to be in communion with our horses and to perceive the horse's energy and interact with them at that level. His experience has led him to pioneer an approach that facilitates the expansion of consciousness for both horse and rider. His work with horses has now been created as a TV series. Gary didn't approach his idea for creating a TV pilot using the normal step-by-step linear construct. Instead, he expressed a dedication to creating a TV show, and he asked questions. He was not vested in the outcome. So what are the infinite possibilities for this to happen? What would it be like to do that? What would it take for that to happen? A friend who's a producer and director told Gary what it would take to create a TV pilot. And Gary's response to that information was not, oh, I've got to raise money before I can create the pilot. Instead, he asked more questions. Hey, universe, universe, can I have this? What would it take for the money to show up? Gary talked about the idea of the TV pilot in his workshops. Within 2 weeks of conceiving the idea, people and the money that he needed began showing up. Within 6 weeks, he had the necessary money and the people to produce the pilot. The pilot, called Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider, which, by the way, I just watched, was completed within 8 weeks from the time that he conceived the idea. So what is the point of this story? A point is that things become possible when you choose to do what you love with conscious awareness. Gary was able to create a TV pilot that took only 8 weeks from conception to completion. It's an older TV show, Gary. It took place a few years ago, and I'm not sure how many episodes were out, but you can purchase the first 3 on the Access Consciousness website. They're called Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider, and they are prereqs for the Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider facilitator class that I'm going to in just a couple weeks. So I watched them, and actually it seemed like I'd watched them before. I have no idea where, but I've seen them somehow before. So maybe you have as well. Who knows? How does it get any better? He didn't do this by Gary, he didn't do this by deciding how it was supposed to be. He did it by living in the question, following the energy, and not being vested in a certain outcome, and receiving what was given. Even though Gary works with business people from around the world, he's never focused on money nor vested in the outcome of his work. He enjoys himself enormously simply because he knows that if he does what he loves, the money will follow. Making a profit is not his primary purpose, yet he attracts more money than some who work purely for money and profit. Gary advises people never to take a job they don't like, nor put up with any conditions that make them unhappy. He reminds people that the moment they accept a job out of desperation or survival, all they're ever going to get is survival. Is your life enough for you? Chutisa and I have met a lot of people who are struggling to make ends meet and using force and effort as a way of making things occur in their lives. Many people we know stay in uncreative, stifling jobs to make money out of the belief that this is necessary for survival. We've worked with many clients who have stayed at undesirable jobs for years, sometimes forever, because they felt they had no choice. The tug of war between the desire to do rewarding work and the need to make more money is played out daily across our world, even in the lives of many rich and famous people. Recently, while facilitating a conscious leadership seminar for a group of high-profile CEOs and senior executives for major organizations in Sydney, Australia, I asked these questions. What does your job mean to you? And what do you desire of your job that if you didn't desire would let you be free? From the front of the room, perfectly groomed senior executive from a major corporation stood up to share his responses to my questions. He said he believed he had to take his job because of financial needs. He assumed that he had to accept the job that had been offered him because he might not get another one. And he'd worked consistently to obtain money because he thought that that's what he had to do to survive. So I asked him 2 more questions. Is there limitation in that point of view? And is your life enough for you? It came through loud and clear to him that he was rigidly maintaining the point of view that he had no choice but to work at the place that he did so that he could eat at opulent restaurants, wear expensive clothes, drive a luxury car, and pay the soaring mortgage payments on his great house. The senior executive stayed at a job that he hated because he believed that there were only a limited number of jobs that would pay him the money that he required. He could see no other way to have everything that he needed to survive. There were 3 assumptions in this particular point of view. The first assumption was that he must survive. The second assumption was that he could not survive without the money. And the third assumption was that he was unwilling to not survive. He was fixated on survival, and that is exactly what he created for himself. Survival from paycheck to paycheck, even though his paychecks were enormous. So if money were not an object, would you do the job that you're doing now? I asked the senior executive an important question. If money were not the object, would you do the job that you're doing now? And he seemed very surprised when he heard himself reply, certainly not. Nevertheless, he lamented that he felt stuck. He said that he didn't know what else he could do to make money. He said, I have no idea what it is that I would truly love to do, so how can I find out? My advice to him was to live in the question and ask questions like these. What would it take for me to discover what it is that I love to do? What does the universe require of me? What does the world require of me? What do I require of me? And I also suggested that he ponder these questions. What is the one thing that I can do so easily that it takes no effort? And if money were not the issue, what would I choose? This executive called me a month later with great excitement. He wanted to let us know about his insights into what he would truly love to do. He said he was excellent at taking photographs that captured the essence of his subject, and he had already exhibited a lot of his photographs. And this was so much fun and so easy for him that he treated it as a hobby. He now realized that he could actually make a lot of money out of his love of photography. He had thought nothing of his natural talent and his love of photography until we had asked him to ponder the question, what is the one thing that I can do so easily that it takes no effort? Remember, one of the things that I love in this book is the little gray boxes and the tool summaries, because you get everything like in an overview. So practical process. If you don't know what it is that you love to do, then ask yourself the following questions before you choose to be, do, and have anything. They will help you to make choices based on what's best for you. So what is the one thing that I can do so easily that it takes no effort? And if money were not the issue, what would I choose? And another practical process. Love all these pragmatic tools. Imagine that you're told that you only have 1 year to live and that you will be in perfect health up to the very last day. Just 1 year. So however, 1 year from today, you will have to leave this world. Would you continue to do what you're doing now? That's an interesting one to sit with, hey? Would you continue to live where you are living? Would your daily routine change? Would you spend your time differently? Would you hang out with the same people you're hanging out with currently? Would you do things differently? Would you treat yourself and others differently? Would your priorities change? And is what you're doing today so exuberant for you that you can imagine doing it until the day you die? Food for thought, hey? 2 questions to ask every morning. Chutisa and I approach our work every morning with these questions. If today were the last day of our lives, would we choose to do what we're about to do today? Wow. I know I've read this book. I'm just going to say this is like the most highlighted, underlined, dog-eared, well-loved, carry it with me everywhere book, okay? I just love all over this book. And sometimes I look at it and go, was that there? Did I see that before? So it's kind of funny. So I'm looking at this going, I know I just read this chapter, but somebody snuck that in there. Steve, Chutisa, I have no idea how you people do that, but you snuck some stuff in there. 2 questions to ask every morning. Chutisa and I approach our work every morning with these questions. If today were the last day of our lives, would we choose to do what we are about to do today? Would an infinite being choose this? And whenever the answer has been no, we consciously look at what else is possible. Living in 10-second increments. 10 seconds. Living in 10-second increments is an access tool for living in the present moment. It's an awesome tool that helps us to live in the present moment and create our lives with consciousness. By living in 10-second increments, we become the conscious navigators of our own realities. 10 seconds is a chunk of time short enough and also long enough to highlight that we make choices constantly. Everything we do is a choice, and living in 10-second increments reminds us that we can choose differently every 10 seconds. Everything's a choice. We constantly ask ourselves this question. If we had 10 seconds to live the rest of our lives, what would we choose? So if you had 10 seconds to live the rest of your life, what would you choose? When I introduce this notion in workshop presentations, someone in the audience will invariably ask, how can you do business in 10-second increments? Isn't this being frivolous and reckless? Would this not create chaos in your life? And from frequently hearing this question, I realize that most people misidentify and misapply the meaning of living in 10-second increments, excuse me, as being flippant and lacking focus. Living in 10-second increments is not about being without control or lacking focus. Quite the opposite. It's about focusing totally on what is happening in the moment. I become much more in command of our business when I'm fully focused and engaged in what I'm doing. I notice that when I do everything in 10-second increments, I seldom make a wrong decision. This is because my mind doesn't wander and I don't operate on autopilot. As an advisor to leaders and businesses, I found that when I focus my attention in 10-second increments at a time, I become aware and conscious during those 10 seconds, and I give my clients my complete attention. I have the capacity to understand their requirements, and I'm able to provide all that's required. And when I live in 10-second increments, I'm able to know what is important for me, and I act on that knowing. I'm not functioning from obligations or projections, expectations, and judgments. Before I chose to live in 10-second increments, I used to create my life and business based on obligations. I used to think that once I'd made a decision or a commitment, then I was obligated to fulfill that decision even when it no longer worked for me. I thought I had to. I thought I was obligated. And if I didn't do it, then people might be upset or disappointed with me. I bought the idea that everybody else was more important than I was. Now, since Chutisa and I have put into practice the art of choosing our life in 10-second increments, we found that we create more choice and greater opportunities to receive money. We've stopped functioning based on obligation or apprehension about missing an opportunity. Living in 10-second increments is a great tool for us. It helps us to choose from the work assignments that have been offered to us. We've stopped accepting work based on a sense of obligation, or the fear of missing out on future opportunities, or even the amount of money that we will receive. We ask each other this question every day. If we had 10 seconds to live, would we want to do what we're about to do today? So whenever the answer is no, we know we need to choose differently. The question, if we only had 10 seconds to live, what would we choose, is one of the most important tools that we've encountered to help make the big choices in life. And when we use it, all external expectations, projections, judgments, significances, apprehensions, and trepidations about embarrassment or failure all fall away. Practical process. Over the next 24 hours, choose to live in 10-second increments. Before you do anything, ask yourself the following questions. If I had 10 seconds to live, what would I choose? Make it a point to pay attention to these things. Where does your time go? How do you spend your energy? Where do you focus your thinking? Where do you focus your feelings? Where do you focus your actions? How do you respond to the opportunities that come to you? And at the end of the day, see for yourself how much more focused you've become at work, at home, and everywhere. And to finish off every chapter, the Bowmans have an amazing page full of tools that they spoke about in the chapter. So it's kind of like a quick and easy summary. So here we go. Tools for discovering what you love to do. Ask yourself whether you're truly satisfied with your current circumstances. Questions to ask. Do I love and truly enjoy what I spend most of my time doing? Is my life a celebration? Is my life enjoyable and pleasurable, or is it dreary, monotonous, and lackluster? Are these infinite possibilities and unlimited opportunities to generate wealth, or do most opportunities seem to have gone? Give up the viewpoint that you have no choice but to work at your current job. Questions to ask. What does my job mean to me? What do I desire of my job that if I didn't desire would let me be free? And do I believe I have to keep my job in order to survive? Is my life good enough for me? And discover what you truly love to do. Questions to ask. If money were not the object, would I do the job that I'm doing now? What would it take for me to know what it is that I love to do. What does the universe require of me? What does the world require of me? And what do I require of me? And what's the one thing that I can do so easily that it takes no effort? And if money weren't the issue, what would I choose? Plane taking off. Disculpe, Eva, este libro es en inglés y estoy leyéndolo en inglés. Sorry, no sé si ya estaba traducido a español. No pienso que lo traducieron a español todavía. Y mi español quizás no es tan bueno para traducirlo directamente. Pero anyway, remember that you have choice. Questions to ask. If today were the very last day of my life, would I choose to do what I am about to do today? Would an infinite being choose this? And use questions as tools to discover what else is possible. Questions to ask. What are the infinite possibilities for blank? Fill in the blank to happen. And what would it take for blank to show up? Live in 10-second increments. Questions to ask. If I had 10 seconds, count them, to live my life, what would I choose? If I only had 10 seconds to live, what would I choose? And if I had 10 seconds to live, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? This is such an amazing book. Voy a decirlo en español también. Este libro es tan fenomenal. Si no conocen los Bowmans, quizás es tiempo de conocerlos. La señora que maneja los Bowmans, Lisa, habla perfectamente en español. Ella creció en Argentina. So, quizás alguien puede conectar y traducir este libro, porque para mí, esto y el libro Cómo convertirse en dinero son como mis Biblias. Tiene mucha información ahí, muchas herramientas. La manera que, este libro es muy amado, como el Cómo convertirse en dinero. Yo tengo el original, no este bonito con los colores, tengo el original espiral, así de muchos años atrás. Pero esto es formato más grande. No entra en mi bolsa, pero esto sí. So, este libro va conmigo en tráfico, en el supermercado, en todos lados. Por esta razón es tan amado. Mira, como muy amado. Tiene café encima, comida encima. Este libro vive conmigo en manera muy, como aún tengo estrellas y caritas felices y muchas cosas aquí. Es un libro fenomenal. So, esto me encantaría si alguien va a traducirlo con español correcta, no mi español, pero con español correcta. Será divertido tenerlo en español. ¿Cómo puede mejorar esto? Es un libro que para mí, aun si español, disculpe, que inglés no es su primer idioma, no es mi primer idioma tampoco. Primera era energía, luego hebreo. Solo cuando tuve 11 años de edad empecé a hablar en inglés. So, hey, si yo puedo, tú puedes. Yo aprendí inglés de mirar Scooby-Doo, ¿ok? ¿Conoces Scooby-Doo? Mi maestro de inglés. Sí, salí rara. So, bienvenidos. Muchas gracias, Nidia. So, esto es un libro que es una contribución. Aún si está dispuesto a estar ahí solo mirando las páginas de los tools, por ejemplo, con un diccionario y traduciéndolo uno por uno, será una contribución por tu vida, si estás dispuesta. Escuchar otra vez los videos que ya grabé, si no tiene punto de vista del idioma, ¿cuánto puedes recibir? So, esto es una invitación. A veces, aun cuando algo es en inglés, por ejemplo, yo lo escucho, a veces no estoy tan dispuesta a recibir. Parece como que llegó en otro idioma. So, ¿cuántos puntos de vista podemos soltar para recibir todo que está en nuestro alrededor? Todo que no permite esto, lo sueltas, destruyes y despejarlo. Cool. Acertado, equivocado, bueno, malo, factor 9 cortos, chicos, y más allá. Y hoy tuvimos contribución de Canela. So, muchas gracias y nos vemos mañana. Chao. Oops. And